When we moved into our new place, my wife only set one rule, which was to have no giant TVs on the wall on this floor. Now, that's interesting because this has become our favorite place to watch movies in the home. And that's thanks to the device over here, which is the XGIMI Horizon S Max. They also sent over the XGIMI Horizon Ultra. This is an awesome projector, 4K, has tons of features. Let's see what it can do. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech with Brett, where I help tech work for you. So XGIMI sent these out for this video so that I could check them out. So over here we have the world's first 4K Dolby Vision projector at home, which is the Horizon Ultra. Over here we have the Horizon S Max, which is a little bit newer, has a few bump in specifications. And then they also sent out this really cool floor stand, so you're able to mount this easily anywhere. It's great to have on like the floor, maybe in the corner of a room or something like that. Out of the way, super simple to get set up. So first, let's talk about some of the main differences that you're gonna have between both of these. There are a ton of specs that are very similar between each of these, but some that I wanna point out as different. So first, let's check out the Ultra here. So first over here, you can see that has this really nice design. Up here at the front, you have the 12-watt Harman Kardon speaker, and then this will slide down and you'll have the projector and everything up there. On the bottom here, you have a 1/4-inch projector mount, so you'd be able to mount it to anything that has that mount. And then here on the back, this is something that's really cool, is you have all the different ports you need. So we have a DC port, LAN, USB 2.0, two of those, HDMI, HDMI 2 or eARC, so plugging this directly into your sound system, very easy to do. You have optical cable, and then you have audio and power. So I love that there are a ton of ports on here available to do everything that you want. And of course, this supports 4K. It has the Android TV, I think it's version 11, all the latest there. This has 32 gig of internal storage, so you're gonna be able to download plenty of apps. And it has the latest DTS and Dolby audio, all that built in. Now next over here, we have the Horizon S Max. Now one of the main differences here is it has this new stand that can easily be rotated, so you can turn it that way, and then you can turn this up and down. Now it might be nice to have something that doesn't move. I know so far using this already, the kids come up and bump it, so I have to realign it each time because it's sitting out in the main room, but not really a huge issue. Nice that it can be easily adjusted. So very similar here, you have your 12-watt speaker of Harman Kardon right here, and then you have this that slides down, makes it so it keeps the lens protected, which is very cool. And then down on the bottom, we have a vent for fan, as well as on the back here. But on the ports here, we do have a little bit less. So here we only have the power. We have HDMI or the eARC port. So that's all in one. And then here we have USB 2.0 and another USB 2.0. So definitely simplified on the ports on the S Max, but I still think it's gonna be good enough for anything that you need. And here this does have 64 gig of internal storage, so a little bit more room for all of your games and everything like that. Now, one thing I do wanna mention about these that you might be wondering is Netflix available on these, and they are not available out of the box. There are ways to get them installed, but they aren't on there when you download it, but pretty much every other app that I want is available on Android TV. So all we have to do to get these set up is plug them in, and then they each come with the remotes. So the remotes are very similar. There you have the power button, that's a display button, Google Assistant, you have your pad there, back menu, home, volume, and then here you can adjust the focus very quickly. And that's one thing that I love about these is how quick they are able to focus. And here are the power bricks that come with each of these. Now, a few of the other main specs that I want to talk about is over here, I mentioned the Ultra has Dolby Vision. The S Max has Dolby Vision as well, but it also has IMAX Enhanced. So just some extra capabilities that this is able to use. Then another thing that they have is this has the newest ISA 5.0. So that's kind of how it's going to automatically adjust and focus and correct everything. Then over here we have ISA 3.0. Now these both have a projection throw of 1:1. The Ultra states that it has 5:1, so it's going to be a little bit further back, and you can zoom in and have the same image size. So it'll be interesting to test those out. Both of these have the ability to project a screen from 40 inches all the way up to 200 inches. So if you have a wall big enough, you would be able to display that on there. Now there are all kinds of different projector screens you can get. I haven't tested out any of those. We're just going to be using a wall or a white sheet of paper that I have. So your experience may vary. If you do have a screen, maybe during the daytime, it's going to be a little bit better and brighter. And then some other things is connecting these to the internet. This uses Wi-Fi 5, so 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, so it's going to be pretty fast Wi-Fi. This does have the Ethernet port, which is awesome, but it also does have Wi-Fi 6, which is great to have. Now, both of these are using a DLP projection, but the Ultra was the first to have a laser as well as an LED light integrated into one to be able to have a brighter and more crisp image. And they have enhanced that on the S Max with Dual Light 2.0. So it's able to just be a little bit better, a little brighter. So over here we have 3,100 ISO lumens, where over here we have 2,300 lumens. And so I think those are the main specifications that you need to know about these. I think it's time that we get watching a movie and see what these are really like. Now, to get these set up, very simple. It's best to use your phone when you're doing that. Just have it nearby. You'll scan a QR code to sign into your Google account, and then it's going to walk you through how to get everything set up. But as I've talked about the Android TV interface a ton, nothing really is different there. It's not using the latest Google TV interface, which I think is a good thing so far, but really cool. Let's get these set up, see what they look like. Now, getting this room ready for movie time was a breeze. All I have to do is take down these pictures and we're pretty much ready to go. Now, I actually ended up painting the brackets for the pictures so that they're non-reflective, and that helped a lot. And this is the perfect wall to have our movie night. Now, the XGIMI stand worked great for the Horizon Ultra. It has a perfect height, maybe a little tall, so I could put something under to tilt it forward. But the great part about the Horizon S Max is I have the ability to easily tilt it to exactly where you want. Once the projector's on, it automatically focuses, and that's something that works perfectly on these, how well it focuses. I have a few other projectors in the home where they're just not getting the focus right. One was completely off from a different brand that I had to manually focus it every single time. Very annoying. So the autofocus on these are just perfect. Now, first, let's start with the S Max here. We started movie night, and I was just so impressed with how this looks. The clarity and crispness of this giant screen up on the wall. I will check the size here, put it up there, but it looked great. It was super bright and vibrant. We started this when the sun was setting, so of course the room was dark, but we had other lights on in the room, and it was still a wonderful experience. I was so impressed by how bright the 3,100 lumens were. Now, moving on to the Horizon Ultra, a little bit less lumens that this has, but I really didn't notice that much of a difference. Having that super crisp clarity was so helpful, and then in those bright, vibrant moments, you could really see the light come through, and I was overly impressed with both of these working together. I couldn't see a difference just with my first impressions between the two on the overall picture quality. Now that leads us to right now where it is in the day. So it is a little bit cloudy day. It looks like the sun might be coming out a little bit more, but let's go ahead and see what this looks like during the day. And then after that, we're gonna take it down into the future movie theater room and see how these perform. Now right behind me are 4 giant windows, and it's a very bright day, so I am going to close my shades. They are light filtering, so we'll get a better idea of what a typical room would look like. Starting off with the Horizon Ultra here, we have a daytime video, just playing the same for each of these. And the colors are coming in great. In the morning, of course, it's gonna be better. And if you do have an actual screen that is reflective, you're gonna have a great experience. But here, during the middle of the day, we're seeing this just fine and able to watch a show. And now let's test out the Horizon S Max in the daytime. So here we have a bump in the lumen, so it is a little bit brighter, and I am definitely seeing much more color come through. Now, we're typically not watching shows in the middle of the daytime, maybe for a kid show or something like that, so this works great. Morning and evening is, of course, going to work better, but this is very doable. So if you wanted to improve the experience, you want to add some blackout shades or curtains, and you'll be able to have a pretty good experience. One thing I want to add to this wall here to make movie night seamless is add a motorized screen above the pictures. I think that would be so awesome. It's a lot less noticeable than a giant screen on the wall, but having this, push a button, it could then automatically roll down, cover up the pictures completely, so I don't need to move them, so I'd have to have it a little bit off the wall. but I think that would make movie nights epic. We'll save that for another day. Now I also test the internet speed here with plugging it directly into my router, and I noticed that it looks like it's only a 100 megabit per second card built in. There you can see as we get to the download speeds and upload speeds, they never go above 100. But when I'm on Wi-Fi, I was able to get much higher than that. So the only reason I would recommend using the Ethernet port on here is if you are in a place where there's just not a great connection and you want a solid connection, so you at least get the 100, but I think over Wi-Fi you're gonna get more. Now this should have Wi-Fi 6, but I could not find the Wi-Fi 6 network in the settings, so that's a bit of a bummer, but there you go, plug directly in, we're getting the 97 down. I do have 2.5 gigabits in my home, so that's slower than Wi-Fi. Let's try it on Wi-Fi. And there you can see plugged in over Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi being even in a different part of the home, we're able to get up to that 145 megabits per second download. So just something you might want to consider. Now, one feature I want to talk more about is ISA, which is Intelligent Screen Adaptation. So that means that when you move the projector somewhere, how it automatically adapts to the wall. So I just turned on the projector here. Let's just quickly align it right up. And there you can see it instantly is adjusting and put the screen in focus so quickly. Now, the size is smaller than we're going to show later. That's just because of where this is. So let's say I want to move this to a different position, and then simply going to pick it up, move it, and then I'm going to adjust and realign, and you can see that it's automatically perfectly making it flat against the wall, which is so great. So here we could even come up a little bit closer, and there you can see perfectly aligning to where I have it placed, and I could move it to any angle here, and it is quickly and easily aligning that. And let's go back a little bit further here. And they're lining up perfectly. And at any time, if you do need to do the manual keystone, I'll show you how to do that in the settings. And then if you want to focus for whatever reason, you can push the button down here at the bottom, and then it will do the automatic focus, which is always super sharp. Now let's talk about mounting this where you're gonna be watching your movie. So I actually love this XGIMI stand where we are able to put it just kind of anywhere in this room. I don't have to put anything in the wall or on the ceiling. Great for main room of the house, also great for a bedroom, but in a more professional room or home theater, you're gonna want to mount this. So with the Ultra, you just have the one mounting thing on the bottom, and you can mount it upside down or right side up, and then you can go in the settings and adjust the orientation. So if it's upside down, you can go in and easily do it. So you can't do it with this stand, but let me just show you here. If I were to tip it upside down, it's going to work like that. And then you also have all the ports at the top, which are going to be easy to get everything plugged in. So that would work pretty great if you had a mount that works like that. I think they even do make one of those if you can find it available. Now over here with the S Max, I didn't show you too much about this, but here we have the bottom that rotates. So you can rotate it that way, and then this can rotate. So if you want to mount this on the ceiling, we would just mount it like this, and we can rotate it any way we want, and then all we need to do is change the orientation on this. So it's still mounted up there, and then the ports are going to be closer to the bottom on this one. And as you noticed that the lens is on the opposite side on these. Another difference maybe you need to know about. But let's go ahead, take these downstairs into a darker room, get them mounted, and try out more of the picture settings to see the differences there. This is the Mogo Pro. It's actually worked pretty well for the last few years, so it's time for an upgrade. This, of course, is battery powered, so I can take it wherever I want to go. Now this is screwed in. I think it should hold the Ultra just fine. Installed. Now the power brick is pretty huge. I think I'll have to get something to mount it up here. All right, now we're installed. Now I could use this mount to kind of align it, but that's where it's great to have the keystone that can automatically be adjusted. Don't recommend this mount for a camera, but there's some other mounts that you could get for long-term use. Let's turn it on, see how it looks. And after adjusting the positioning just a little bit, here we have an awesome screen. This is way higher quality than a 1080p projector. Let's also close the curtains. There we go. Now it's movie time. And playing that same demo track again, here you can see how bright this actually is compared to the middle of the day. But this, of course, is going to be the best experience in the evening at night here. Now, the video itself is a little grainy, and that's just because of the quality of the video that I'm playing here. But this works great for what we're trying to do here. So you can see everything is looking great. So now if we go into the display settings here, we have a few things we can adjust. Now the auto keystone, this is where when you set it up, it's automatically going to adjust the angle that it's at and fit it flat on your wall. And this has been working perfect. We can also go down here and go to more image correction. So you can do a manual keystone. So here you can go through and manually select where you want it, adjusting the corners. And maybe you want it down a little more and to the right or whatever it is. You can go through and do all of that with manual. Then you have autofocus, which again, so good. There's the button at the bottom where you can push and it's then going to autofocus, and you can see it's already perfectly there, but it can realign it in case it somehow got bumped out of the way. You also can do the manual focus. I've never needed to do that with these. Next here we have image zoom. Now on the Ultra, it has the option where it can then zoom in the whole frame. This isn't just like making the image smaller, but it's actually zooming optically the lens. So I'm not losing any quality or anything like that. And you can see around the border, I can then match it up perfectly. So we can go optical zoom. It will start to get out of focus, but then once we get to the end of this orange, then it's going to do the digital zoom, where now it's digitally zooming in. So if maybe you want it to get a lot smaller, perfectly align it onto something, you're able to do that. So here you can see around the border, that's gray. That's because it's doing the digital zoom. But when we go back to optical, it's moving the whole frame. And I like this because I can perfectly align it to this wall. I had it set a little bit too big. So now that is looking much better. We're able to see the full image. Here we have a screen shift where we can move it left and right to get it perfectly fit. And then here we have wall color adaptation. So this is able to take what is happening in the environment and make the colors look the best for that. I found the default worked best. Here we can even go in and adjust more keystone settings if we want to. We can go down here and adjust focus, and then the projector placement. Like I said before, it automatically adjusted, but if you need it to rotate around, you can go through and fix that right here. But those are the projector settings. Now I want to look at this color here. It looks so good. Every color is coming through perfectly, very bright and vibrant. Then under the picture settings, we have an environment adaptation, so it can automatically adjust based on what is in the room. Now next we have brightness with iris. So this is the iris aperture. So if I turn this down, it is going to turn down the brightness on the video. So this has a really good bright color. So it's just not like oversaturating the image, it's actually making it brighter, which looks great. You have all kinds of different picture modes that you can choose. You can go to TV, you can go movie. We have a sports. Again, the quality of the video I made here isn't that great, but brilliant. You can even do custom and high power mode. So love seeing lots of options there for your preference. You have a game mode when attached to HDMI, Dolby Vision, and then 3D setup. And you can even try out a professional grade color accuracy as well. So a ton of settings there. You can do sound settings. You can do the speaker built in. So far, that has been awesome. One of the best speakers I've heard in any projector. I have it plugged in here to my sound system, but I'm just going to keep playing it from the speaker just to see how it goes. And then you can adjust your input. Here we can go to the different inputs that are connected and check out the aspect ratio and HDMI and all of that stuff. And then here we do have some advanced settings. So if somebody walks by in front of the lens, you can turn on eye protection. And then here we have that turbo light, calibration for focus and keystone. So tons of settings there. Everything looks great. Let's go back and check out some of the end of this video. Here, the screen size that we have is about 175 inches, which is so cool to be able to have such clarity at that big of a screen. So I really like the shot of the fireworks here. It just shows how dark the colors can get. And then here with the bird, don't know the kind of bird, it is showing how bright it can get as well. So my camera, trying to have it be even between the colors, but this is making it look a little bright, even though it looks perfectly colorful on the wall. Very happy with how this looks. Into here, back on the Android TV interface, you have all your favorite apps here at the bottom. At the top, you can go to the live section where you can watch live TV. Shop is where you can rent and buy different movies to watch. It even shows your library, so things that we have purchased. Not sure why none of those are loading right now. Maybe my internet has been having some problems. Here we can do Discover, where it's going to show you some new things that you're able to watch that are pretty cool. And then here you have apps where you can go in and download more apps and make this even more powerful with the things that it is able to do. Now here I'm just using my phone to cast the music right to it, so it does support casting, which is awesome. So far, we haven't ever had to turn the volume up past 50%. It is plenty, so I'm about 8 feet away. Let's hear how that sounds. So that actually sounds great. Plenty of bass for just casual watching, and overall very clear in the sound. The only thing with the sound is if you are behind the projector, you're not going to hear it as much, but I think that's when you would want to plug in a bigger sound system if that's where it's lining up. But right now this is sitting over our couch and it's sounding great in this entire room. And a few other things to highlight that built into this, there is a file manager, an X music player, and the XGIMI wall. Just some other cool apps that they've added to make this user experience even better. You can plug in a flash drive in the back and it's going to play all kinds of cool stuff. So here they have this like home screen thing. We have some different scenes that we can use. That's a great way to add some ambience into your home. And here in this darker scene from Mario, you can see the highlights and details on all the brighter and even darker areas. So everything is looking great. Nothing too dark and dim or over bright. Now switching to a live action movie here on Jurassic World, I did notice that it looked great, but I was seeing a little bit of graininess. I'm not sure if that's just the shot or whatever it was, or maybe Amazon Prime. But that was something that stood out to me. Whether it was good or bad, not really a problem. Now let's check out the Horizon S Max. And without changing my camera settings from the Ultra to the S Max, here you can see the S Max is way too bright for this, so I am going to turn this down a little bit so we have a more color accurate representation. But this is looking great. Very crisp. I can tell the colors are a little bit more vibrant here. Let's go and play our demo videos. And here we can see those colors are all coming through very bright. And taking a look at this night scene as well as the colors from the fireworks, this is looking great. Really dark, deep blacks and then nice, bright, vibrant colors and everything coming through. Now, if we look at the colors here again, you can see all the colors are coming through very vibrant compared to the Ultra. So I would say this definitely has improved on that, even though I thought the picture quality looked great over there. And then here with the bird, we're seeing some really nice colors come through as well. Let's go ahead and check out if there's any difference in the settings that we get here. So here we have the keystone that's on. So here if I move the actual projector, it's automatically going to adjust so it's fitting perfectly on the wall, and this does such a good job. But here we can go and do auto keystone correction, so we can just push it there and it does the completion, and then you can even do the autofocus and everything as well. So we have some more image correction features. We can do manual keystone, autofocus. We have the image zoom here as well. But the main difference here is there is no optical zoom like we saw on the Ultra. It's only doing the digital zoom. We're seeing the gray around the outside get more and more. So it's nice that you can focus it, but I loved how the Ultra has that optical zoom, which is actually a pretty cool feature to have. We have the screen shift, so if we want to go up, down, left, right, we can do that because we've zoomed in just a little bit. Here we have screen rotation, so if we do want to align it a little bit better, we can do that in case our mount is maybe off a little bit. nice that you have that added. We have the wall color adaptation here. We can restore to defaults. And here we have the keystone settings, the focus, as well as the projector placement. So again, if we need to realign it for wherever it is, if it didn't automatically do that. But here there is an auto vertical flip when you do mount it upside down. So it's great that it has that, but pretty much all the same settings there. Now next we're going to go into picture settings, and we do see a few differences here. First, we have the light source mode. So we can do the dual light 2.0, which the Ultra had the dual light, this has the 2.0, or we can just specify that we want to go to the tricolor laser. So this provides vivid color display, recommended for users not sensitive to color fringing or spectacle. So something actually interesting is I had an eye injury where when I watch TVs that are too bright, it's too much for me. So I've never felt uncomfortable watching the projector at all here. It's great that even though it's very bright, it's not overpowering in any way. And then if we go back here, so let's go to the dual light 2.0. If we go back and we can do adaptive brightness, but then here we have the brightness. So we can quickly go, you can go to 10 plus, which does the extra high brightness, or we can go down if we want to have it a little bit more dim, a little more calm for our eyes. So it's nice, you can adjust that. And then here you have the contrast enhancement iris that you can turn on or off. So here there it does a little click when that enables, so you can decide which one of those you like better. And then here we have all the other picture modes and game mode, Dolby Vision. And then here we have the IMAX Enhance. So it's set to auto right now. We can turn that off, so that will automatically switch from IMAX Enhance when playing HDR10 content for better picture quality. So it's cool we have that. We have 3D setup and the professional grade color accuracy as well. Let's go to our other video demos, see how this does. So right now I'm sitting at the 10, not the 10 plus. I think that's going to be plenty. And last, let's test out the speaker here. Again, I'm really impressed with the sound here, really good bass and clear trebles. Here is what my camera was set to with the other projector. The quality on this is just outstanding, how crisp the video is. And there you can see it a little bright. Let's tone it down here.
What is this place?
Now I'm even seeing a little more detail in some of these darker areas that I wasn't seeing before. So this is doing great with that dual light 2.0, bringing in the brightness as well as the vivid color all at the same time. Now here on this shot with the S Max, I'm noticing less graininess than I was with the Ultra. Wasn't too bad over there, but here things are looking a little bit more smooth and sharp, and overall better picture quality. And I believe that's because of the IMAX Enhanced. This is HDR content, so things are looking really good. Now it's time for a side-by-side of the difference between these two. So here's the shot where I noticed some graininess. I thought my color profiles were the same, but it looks like they're a little off. But see if you can tell that little grain I'm talking about on the Ultra versus the more smooth and crispness on the S Max. Not very noticeable, but slightly there. And here you can really see the color is different on both of these. Maybe you like the more warm, maybe you like the more green. I'm pretty sure those can be adjusted because of the way that you can adjust the picture. And one more shot here, you can see that the profile on the S Max is very real, where the Ultra has a little bit more color or extra bluish to it. So these look great, but I think the S Max in this shot looks so good and very realistic, like they were trying to do. Now, some other things that I didn't cover in this video that these are capable of is mirroring your Android phone to the Android TV interface. So that's kind of nice if every once in a while you just want to mirror what you're doing over there. So that's built and integrated in. And then it supports casting. If you have Android or an iPhone, you're able to go to any app that does, almost any app that supports casting, as long as it's compatible over here. So you can send photos over here, music. It does have Bluetooth, you can connect directly to it, and a ton of more little things that you can do. And then you can also use the Google Home app to be able to have a remote to control it. So if you don't have the remote next to you. You can go in and sync Google Home app, or you can go to the Google TV app to be able to do that as well, where you can then control this and so that you have access to it without needing to find the remote that may be hidden in the couch. So some of those other features I've covered on previous videos, like the one about the Mogo Pro, which was really cool. So in conclusion, what is the best one of these projectors? Well, it's really interesting. They both performed really good in different ways. So at first I thought the Ultra was going to be the best option, but then I learned about how they've taken all the great things that they added to that and they slightly improved on them with the S Max to do some different things. The Ultra has all those different ports on the back, but really in the end, I wouldn't need all the ports because I'm now just using an HDMI and I'm not using Ethernet because the Wi-Fi is so good. So some of those things you don't really need. This has just the essentials that you need. You probably don't need all those little extra bells and whistles. And then having that lower Ethernet port capability at the 100 megabits per second, I don't really care for it unless you have that really bad Wi-Fi signal. Now, again, another thing about the two differences is the color that you're going to see on the screen. I found that the Ultra was very nice, natural, pleasing, where the S Max does do a little extra color. So sometimes you may need to adjust and tweak it to your liking. I didn't go in and do any custom settings or anything like that, but it may be a little more overwhelming if color is too much for you. But I could say that it made everything very bright and vibrant. I loved how I was able to switch between the dual light 2.0 as well as the tri-laser, so it's cool that you can do that. And then there are so many settings you can adjust, and the iris and all those things really added to what this can do. But I noticed that this, with the IMAX enhanced capability, it has a really nice soft theatrical look to it, where a few times the Ultra did have a little bit more graininess to it. So it's interesting that those were different on both of these. So it's really hard to say exactly what one is going to work for you because that's all up to personal preference, what you like in your home. But I can say both of these looked and worked great. Brightness on both of them was top notch. You're going to get a little bit more here with the S Max. The sound from both of these sounded perfect. No difference between the two in sound. Plenty of bass coming out of it. Like I said, that we've never gone above like maybe 60% of the volume, and everyone was able to hear. The only thing is if you're sitting behind it, you're not going to hear that as much. So if you can place this in a location where you're sitting in front of it, next to it, it's going to sound a lot better. It's like, oh, could it have a speaker on the side or something? Would that be better? No. I think right here on the front is great. And I love how it has this little thing that opens and closes as you are turning it on and off. That is really fun. So there you go. That is the differences between the XGIMI Horizon Ultra as well as the XGIMI Horizon S Max. So if you have any further questions, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to pick one of these up, I'll leave a link to both of them down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.